And I'm too close.
I'm Nintendo.
And I'm Sega. This is Console War!
Hey man, I need help blowing things. Whoa, what are you doing?
Oh, this? Yeah, I know it looks bad, but I just read about blood doping, and I thought I was gonna give that a try.
So it's finally come to this. You're doing drugs.
No, it's not drugs. Let me explain. You see, I take some blood out, and then my body replenishes it. And then when my blood level is back to normal, I put the blood back in.
So what kind of drugs are you doing? Is it those butt drugs?
There are no drugs. I'm using my own blood to increase my athletic performance. Again, no drugs.
Oh, okay. So what's the athletic event?
The Beer Olympics.
Oh, okay. I don't follow.
If I have more blood in my system, then I can handle more alcohol, making me more able to compete in the games.
You know, you come up with the dumbest ideas. And you finally came up with a good one.
I know, right? And I'm glad you're here, because I cannot prick myself with a needle.
But I get real nerves around needles and I shake. Unless I had a beer to calm my nerves.
Whoa, you're gonna be putting a needle in me. Better make it 2 beers, because I don't want you having any of the shakes. So while you're doing that, let me get a good vein going on over here.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
1. Wait. 2.
Why are you doing it from so far back? Wait. Dude, you're way off the mark. Why did you do it like that?
I was just trying to be cool like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Should have used a Sharpie first. Let me help you with that.
Oh,
Whoa.
what?
No blood.
Really? What are you talking about? There's blood.
Oh yeah, there is.
Of course there's blood. This isn't Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo.
You know, I'm a little tired of you saying that. Especially since there's blood in Mortal Kombat 2.
Even with blood, Mortal Kombat 2 is still better on Sega Genesis.
No, it's definitely better on Super Nintendo.
No, Sega Genesis!
Mortal Kombat II is a competitive fighting game developed by Midway for the arcade in 1993. The game made several improvements over its predecessor, with more characters and expanding the fatalities. The game was a critical and commercial success, and that success, of course, led to home versions.
There were many ports of the arcade hit. Today we're focusing on the Super Nintendo version developed by Sculptured Software and the Sega Genesis game developed by Probe Entertainment. While the games are incredibly similar, there are notable differences. So, which game's better? Let's find out.
I'm going to prove that my game looks more like the arcade game.
That's ridiculous, because mine definitely looks more like the arcade.
Super Nintendo has all the arcade's characters.
So does the Sega Genesis game.
Super Nintendo even has all the arcade's levels.
They're definitely all on the Sega Genesis.
Super Nintendo has all the moves and character animations from the arcade.
Hate to break it to you, but so does Sega Genesis.
Most importantly, I have blood. Lots of blood.
Well, this is the Sega Genesis game. Of course there's blood.
Okay, these games are more similar than I thought.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Whoa, Scorpion!
Foolish mortals, you do not know the ways of Mortal Kombat 2.
What are you doing here?
Please don't hurt us.
Hurt you? Scorpion is here to guide you. Scorpion is your friend. Here.
What's this?
It is a doll.
I could see that, but why'd you give it to me?
That is Scorpion's friendship in Mortal Kombat 2. We are now friends.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Right, but shouldn't this be a Scorpion doll? Because this is clearly a rock and roll Raphael.
Scorpion would like to give out Scorpion dolls, but Scorpion has no money.
Don't you give money for fighting?
The only payment in Mortal Kombat is the satisfaction of watching someone die in your own hands.
Okay, what about getting a job?
Scorpion has been fighting all his life. How does Scorpion get a job?
What about Craigslist? It's where I found my job selling myself. Doing odd jobs, raking leaves, mowing lawns.
It is settled then. Scorpion will go on Craigslist.
You don't gotta stand there the whole time.
Yeah, get over here.
Who said that? Only Scorpion may say that. That is Scorpion's thing.
Sorry.
So, how are you gonna guide us?
Compare the levels.
The levels, of course. My levels have more detail.
Both games have all the same levels, but the Sega game is missing a lot of objects in the background. See this flying creature on Super Nintendo? It doesn't exist on Genesis. And see this floating guy on Nintendo? Must not be that important, because he's not in the Sega game. And look at the way the crowd moves on Super Nintendo. And on Sega, nothing. This attention to detail in the backgrounds gives my game the win.
Not all your levels are perfect.
Check out this level. See the pillars? And on Super Nintendo, nothing. Also, check out the monks, bopping up and down. Then on Super Nintendo, no bop.
That level definitely looks better in my game.
Yeah, it looks so good. Sega decided to use it twice.
Instead of having a new level for the hidden boss fights, what does Sega do? How's about a quick palette change? Talk about lazy. Super Nintendo, on the other hand, has the hidden boss fights in Goro's lair, just like the arcade.
My game's lazy? Reusing levels from the first game, that's lazy.
Even so, there's still other reasons my graphics are better.
Let's look at the shadows. On Super Nintendo, the shadows are shaped to look like people. And how do the shadows look on Sega? Giant circles. That's it. No effort to look like people at all. Just a big black circle.
And lastly, let's talk Mode 7.
My game uses Super Nintendo's Mode 7 to make the background twist in this fatality. While on Sega, it's not as impressive.
So my pit fatality's better.
What?
Yeah, mine's more like the arcade. The arcade doesn't twist the screen, neither does the Sega Genesis. So mine's more like the arcade, i.e. better.
That's ridiculous. Scorpion, Mode 7 works. Twisting is good, right?
Scorpion likes twisting. Scorpion likes twisting the bones of his opponents as they are helpless in terror. They beg for mercy but receive none. So yes, twisting is good.
See?
Both games are incredible looking arcade ports. But since the Super Nintendo has more detailed levels, better looking shadows, and the Mode 7 twist, graphics go to Super Nintendo.
Presentation on Sega's great. Let's start with the opening.
The game starts off with this cryptic opening, just like the arcade. Then, it demos fights, just like the arcade.
That's it? That's nothing compared to how the Super Nintendo game opens.
I have the same opening with the lightning, but then, my game tells the events leading up to this game. My game actually shows character profiles for everyone. They each come with a nice sharp picture too. Looking good, Scorpion.
Scorpion went on a diet for that picture. Scorpion only ate apple cores and Chinese newspapers for weeks.
Huh.
So my game also has a secret opening.
On Super Nintendo, you got a secret opening with the bosses. Watch them smash that logo. Once again, Sega has nothing.
What's with you and logos?
It's not my fault. Super Nintendo has awesome logos.
Listen to this. Opening a diner. Scorpion could wait tables.
I don't know. You really have to be a people person?
Let us practice. Scorpion will take your order.
Okay. What's on the menu?
The menu? Scorpion was not ready for a pop quiz. Scorpion does not want to play this game anymore. You will pay for this insolence with your blood.
I was just asking about the menu.
Menu. Speaking of menus, the menu on the Super Nintendo is way better than yours.
On Super Nintendo, the menu is written on stone with the Mortal Kombat logos. The option menu is also written in stone, and this is all with a big and clear font. So what does the menu look like on Sega? Wow, way to keep things to a minimum. But surely, the options menu is, it's more of the same. Did they even try to make this game look good?
So my menu's a little boring. My game still looks more like the arcade.
When you actually play, on Sega, the names of the fighters are in the life bar, just like the arcade. The Super Nintendo, however, foolishly puts the names below.
Okay, it's different, but it's slightly easier to read. Besides, my ending is way better than yours.
On Super Nintendo, you get more pictures of the character you played as. These are accompanied by the character's story. It's all written in stone with the Mortal Kombat logos around. And how is the ending told on Sega? Just text scrolling up over the character. No cool pictures, no cool stone layout, nothing. Even that font is terribly boring, and it's all one color. On Super Nintendo, I get 3 different colors over here, and one of them is flashing. It's like Vegas. I'm excited, and then I'm bored. The Super Nintendo has all the main characters show up one more time in the ending. That's totally absent from the Sega game.
And I almost forgot about the versus mode.
On Super Nintendo, when you play versus mode, you see the sweet profile pics of each fighter. It also tells you who's winning and where you're going to fight next. It's a nice way of amping you up before fighting a friend. And what do they do on Sega? I'm sure it's something cool. Oh, no, it's nothing again.
I'm pretty sure that my clouds in the opening are much bigger.
Dude, give it a rest.
With character profiles, more story, more ending, more pictures, a better menu layout, versus mode pictures, and a cool logo, presentation goes to Super Nintendo.
There's no denying that the music at Sega is definitely better.
That's ridiculous. Mine sounds more like the arcade.
Okay, that's true, but the Genesis soundtrack is superior.
On Sega, the bass and drums are more prominent. The melody is more clear on Genesis. The Genesis also sounds more menacing. When you actually play the game, the music on the Sega Genesis comes out nice and clear. On Super Nintendo, the music is more quiet and in the background. And the originals on Sega just sound better.
As good as that sounds, the music in your game isn't perfect.
But not all the stage music on Sega matches the arcade. For some reason, the Genesis version moves around some tracks.
Round 1, fight!
And the Sega game is missing this song.
One song's no big deal, and besides, my music is more accurate.
Let's talk about the opening track. Here's how it sounds on the arcade. And now on Sega Genesis. That's pretty close. Now here's how it sounds on Super Nintendo. Wow, that's just a blatant knockoff. Did Super Nintendo not have the rights?
Okay, my music isn't perfect, but my sound effects sure are.
First off, the Sega game is missing a lot of grunts compared to the Super Nintendo. And most importantly, Super Nintendo has a lot of voiceovers the Sega game is missing.
Scorpion wings. Fatality. Friendship.
None of the character names are even said on Genesis.
So, music is more important than a few voiceovers.
A few? Your game barely has any. Scorpion, what do you think?
You know what Scorpion thinks? Scorpion's been looking in the wrong area for a job. There was this great section, Men Seeking Men. Listen to this one. Looking for a man in good physical shape. Be as rough with me as you like.
I don't think that's an ad for a job.
Why not? Oh, no good. They want someone in their early 20s. Plus, there's a whole paragraph about butt stuff. Scorpion is not into butt stuff.
So what's better? A good soundtrack or all the music and sound effects?
Scorpion needs to hear his victims scream in agony before their demise. Plus, Scorpion likes to hear his name when he wins.
Well, that settles that.
With all the music, sound effects, and voiceovers from the arcade, best sound goes to Super Nintendo.
Well, this is gonna be tough.
What do you mean?
Our gameplay is identical.
We have all the same characters with all the same moves. We even have all the same fatalities, friendships, and babalities.
Wow, our games are similar. Hey Scorpion, can you help us out?
Scorpion is hungry. Scorpion will not help until there's food.
Well, there's a bag of chips right by you.
Kettle chips? Scorpion does not maintain his fighting physique by eating such garbage. But it is Scorpion's cheat day. Perhaps a few won't hurt.
Wait, what'd you just say?
These are garbage.
No, the other thing.
It is Scorpion's cheat day.
That's it, cheats. These games are all about cheats. I bet mine are a lot better than yours.
Not likely.
Oh yeah?
Sega has a test mode which allows you to enter multiple cheats at once. This is completely absent from the Super Nintendo game.
Even with your fancy test mode, I still have better cheats than you.
You're on.
Super Nintendo has codes for 30 continues.
Oh, that's sad. I can have 30 continues without a code. Then in test mode, I can use free play for unlimited continues.
I have a super strength code. I can take out an enemy in 2 hits if they don't block.
Yeah, the test mode on Sega enables one-hit kills every time.
My strength code also greatly increases defense.
Yeah, in test mode, I can just select no damage to my player.
Oh man, that is pretty good.
Yeah, and that is just the tip of the iceberg, because the test mode has so many cheats that you don't have on Super Nintendo.
On Sega's test mode, you can pick any level you want. You can also rearrange the battle plan in any order. I can even have the computer do fatalities, friendships, or babalities if I lose. Not to mention an exclusive Fergality.
Yeah, but you can only do that on the Armory stage with Raiden. Besides, I have cheat codes you don't have too.
I can disable throws in 2-player mode.
Wow, tell me more about these exclusive wonders you have.
Okay, calm down. I have better cheats.
I have a cheat for instantly fighting the boss of the game.
That's nothing. In my test mode, I can fight the boss of the game through the battle plan. I can also fight Kentaro instantly too.
I have a cheat for that too.
But my cheats are easier. I can access all my cheats from the test mode with a code that I enter only once. To do all the other cheats on Super Nintendo, you need to manually enter them one at a time during character select, then hope that you have enough time to pick your character.
Plus, it's easier to fight one of my hidden bosses.
We both have the same ways to access Smoke and Jade, but I only need 25 wins in a row to fight Noob Sabat. On Super Nintendo, you need 50. Ridiculous.
Okay, it's a little ridiculous, but I also have another way to fight them that you don't.
I can easily enter a code during character select to immediately fight any of the hidden bosses. Have fun winning 25 matches before you get to see Noob Sabat. That's the only way to fight him on Sega.
I also have a couple more cheats you don't.
I have a cheat code to extend fatality time 4 times longer. But here's the coolest code I have. Super Nintendo can have 4-on-4 team battles. This is an excellent way to test your might against a friend with multiple characters in a row. It's easy to access, incredibly fun, and exclusive only to the Super Nintendo.
Cheats aside, let's talk about the controls.
On Sega, yes, you can use the 6-button controller. However, you need to make sure you set it up first in the options menu. If you don't, your 6-button will play like a 3-button. It's incredibly tedious to do this every time you turn the game on. The Super Nintendo controller is perfectly set and ready to use immediately. No need to go to the options menu, unless you want to customize the controls. Something you can't do on the Sega Genesis. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. That D-pad on Genesis is rough. This flimsy thing makes moves and fatalities incredibly difficult. Give me the sturdy Super Nintendo D-pad any day.
I had a feeling you'd complain about my controls, so I saved my best cheat for last. I have Pong!
So do I.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
250 wins in a row?
Yep.
How ridiculous is that?
Yeah. Who has time to win 250 matches? It's impossible.
Yeah, so whose gameplay's better?
I don't know. Scorpion!
Scorpion, 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 scorpion.
Oddly enough, I know exactly what he means.
Both games have a lot of the same cheats. Both games have exclusive cheats. Even though the cheats are easier to access on Sega, you can still do a lot of them on Super Nintendo. One cheat that does bring gameplay to another level is the team battle match. Sure, frugality is fun at first, and one-hit kills makes the game a cakewalk, but 4-on-4 matches increase the replay value. There's so much more to do with a friend on the Super Nintendo version. Add no need to change controls and a sturdy D-pad, and Genesis doesn't stand a chance. With all that, best gameplay goes to Super Nintendo.
Even though both games are excellent ports of the arcade, one game is a little more excellent, and that game is Mortal Kombat 2 for the Super Nintendo.
It has better graphics with more detailed levels, better shadows, and Mode 7. It has better presentation with a better opening, ending, menu layout, versus screen, and a secret. While the music may sound slightly better on Sega, the Super Nintendo sounds like the arcade, has more music from the arcade, and definitely has more sound effects and voiceovers. The gameplay for both games is identical, but the Super Nintendo edges the Sega with cheats, mainly the 4-on-4 elimination, which increases the replay value. The Super Nintendo game is just a much truer port of the arcade game. Even the creator, John Tobias, favored the Super Nintendo game and said the Super Nintendo version is one of the best arcade-to-home conversions he's seen. Best Mortal Kombat 2 goes to Super Nintendo.
You alright? You look bummed.
I'm fine. I'm really concerned about these Beer Olympics and this blood doping thing. I mean, I can't take my own blood.
You need help with the removal of blood? Scorpion is good with blood. Scorpion is very good with blood. All done.
Wow, you're really good at this.
Scorpion has very steady hands.
Yeah, you definitely do.
For not crying, here is your lollipop.
Wow, thanks. You know, you should be a nurse.
Thanks for watching our latest video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks to everyone who suggested Mortal Kombat 2. And keep those other suggestions coming. We will get to them. Also, thanks to our buddy Xavior TheLycan for his donation of the 2 games. And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more console wars goodness. Later.
What about Craigslist? That's where I find my... What about Craigslist? That's where I found my job on YouTube.